I did not laugh, for she was afraid. He said, no, but you did laugh. Didn't
Okay,
you?
wait, let's stop there. She laughed at the mere fact of, oh my gosh, now after I am old and I'm worn down, you're gonna bless me with a child that I physically cannot take care of. That's what she's laughing at. Not the fact that it was a joke. She was laughing at the fact that, oh my goodness, at this time in my life, you're gonna bear me with something that I've been asking for in my youth. I don't think she meant it as in a joking matter, as more in a, oh my, this is insane. Had you given me that child when I wanted it, when I was younger, I could raise it properly. She's thinking she's not going to be able to raise it properly. She doesn't think she's going to be living for very much longer. I mean, she's 90 years old. And now she's going to have a child that she is not going to watch grow old. That's what she's upset over. But she said it, she giggled because she was nervous. She was upset. And she just, wow, it was a shocking moment. Okay, go.
I'm going to say something. I really hate to say this because I'm going to have to defend Christina. I really don't want to. But what Sarah said and what she believed at that moment was not unreasonable, number one. And number two, if you really want to get depressed over denying the possibility of what God can do, I will go to the last verse of the Gospel of John, where it says, I suppose that if everything Jesus did as far as miracles, acts, was written down, he would fill the world. Miracles don't cut it, friends. They still killed Jesus. There's a word I taken as my own, and it's called normalcy. That, you can warn your children, you can warn yourself against all the things you shouldn't do or should do, but the greatest temptation in this world, the greatest, is normalcy. You get used to something. You get used to something and it just passes you by. I saw a film once of a concentration camp. The people that ran the camp were having a party, a birthday party. Can you imagine that? They're in the midst of hell, and they have a birthday party. One last thing, then we'll move on. I was born in 47, the year of Roswell, the year of flying saucers, etc. The books, the phenomena, the whole smear, it was big for years and years and years and years. In fact, frankly, when I was about 7, I saw one with my mom in the lounge. Didn't last long, but it was something. Anyway, about a year or so ago, the U.S. government releases the films. Sure enough, there's objects out there that fly around, not a peep. Normalcy.
That's because they've been here. And
Right.
they never wanted to tell us they've been here.
Right.
They didn't want to tell us of the technology they learned from these.
The point I'm making is everything in life, good, bad, or indifferent, can become normalized. For Sarah to say this showed a lack of faith, I agree. But I understand from a human point of view why she said it. All right, let's move on.
Well, no, because let's go on to other things. The fighting, the guns, the killing, the this, the that. It's all pushed upon us to be normal. This is how you should act. Because our government is pushing this on us. This is the way you should be. If you want something, take it. Don't worry about going to jail. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about that. We've got your back. If you want to take it, take it. If you want to end it. They have no care about what's going on for the people and pushing this on us. So they're asking all of us to arm ourselves so that if a criminal does happen to come upon us and try to take our life, well, it's either yours or his. And that's the attitude our government has. So they're trying to normalize evil, and that's the evil within this. We have to live under rules. We have to live under some sort of understanding that you just don't take whatever you want. And our government is not leading us in that direction right now. That's all I have to say.
All right. Then the men set out from there, and they looked down towards Sodom. And Abraham went with them to set them on their way. The Lord said, "Shall I hide from Abraham what I'm about to do? See that Abraham shall surely become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall be blessed by him."
Blessed in him.
In him. For I have chosen him that he may command his children and his household after him to keep the way of the Lord by doing righteousness and justice, so that the Lord may bring to Abraham what he has promised him. Then the Lord said, "Because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and their sin is very grave, I will go down to see whether they have done altogether, according to the outcry that has come to me, and if not, I will not." So the men turned from there and went toward Sodom. But Abraham still stood before the Lord. When Abraham drew near and said, "Will you indeed sweep away the righteous with the wicked? Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you then sweep away the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous who are in it? Far be it from you to do such a thing, to put the righteous to death with the wicked, so that the righteous fare as the wicked. Fare be that from you. Shall not the judge of all the earth do what is just?" And the Lord said, "If I find in Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole place for their sake." Abraham answered and said, "Behold, I have undertaken to speak to the Lord, I who am but dust and ashes. Suppose 5 of the 50 righteous are lacking. Will you destroy the whole city for lack of 5? And he said, "I will destroy it. I will not destroy it if I find 45 there." Again, he spoke to him and said, "Suppose 40 are found there." He answered, "For the sake of 40, I will not do it." Then he said, "Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak. Suppose 30 are found there." He answered, "I will not do it if I find 30 there." He said, "Behold, I have undertaken to speak to the Lord. Suppose 20 are found there." He answered, "For the sake of 20, I will not destroy it." Then he said, "Oh, let not the Lord be angry. I will speak again, but this once. Suppose 10 are found there." He answered, "For the sake of 10, I will not destroy it." And the Lord went his way when he had finished speaking to Abraham. And when Abraham returned to his place. Several things. Number one, it's almost like a comedy routine. Number two, I would have been scared blank to do that. I mean, it's just like, aren't you pushing him a little bit? He was. And lastly, I believe that this story is given again in Scripture. And I will say this. There was a movie made about 20 years ago called The Last Days of Sodom and Gomorrah. I highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. But I've always been struck by this passage because it's like, it takes a lot of guts to do that. You're talking to God, for God's sakes. That's what I have to say. Christina?
Thank you. Well, that would be me begging for the souls of Solomon.
Doesn't it strike you as a little humorous?
Well,
I mean,
I wouldn't say humor. I would say
it takes guts anyway, doesn't it?
it takes guts, because I'm Abraham. I'm in his shoes. I'd be sitting there going, but wait a minute, God. What if? Because now he knows the people of Solomon. He knows that they're wicked. He's not really too sure if God could find 50, and he didn't want them all wiped out. He's like, okay, well, what if you find maybe 45? And God's like, okay, 45. Oh, well, wait a minute, God. Now that I'm thinking, what if you only find? And the number kept getting smaller and smaller, because Abraham wasn't sure if he would find any among Solomon that were worthy of saving and loving God. And that's why the number became so small. And God's out for you, Abram, because you are willing to stand up for 10. I will not wipe them out for your 10. Because now, because you don't remember, God knows what Abraham is thinking and feeling. And he's thinking, well, maybe I can trust